Welcome to another part of Wakeboarding Unleashed. This time we're going through the Bayou, and I do not like the Bayou. And my reasoning for not liking the Bayou is because the Bayou is a pain in the fucking ass. We're doing the Bayou, by the way, with Kobe Mikashish. I don't know how to say his name, I'm sorry. But what I can say to you is that, yeah, you can see that I haven't done the other riders yet. And in fact, as I go along, my skills will improve. But just know, there's going to be a lot of sloppiness at the start. The first few levels are going to be rather crap, in all honesty, of how I play this. Because I'm still trying to, get a bit of a feel for the game, understand what its physics are, what its controls are, and what its gimmicks are. And I will also say that I will apologize for the glitches that will show up throughout the video, because ultimately, my game capture just absolutely hated this fucking game. So eventually, I'm going to end up switching to recording with OBS instead of Elgato Game Capture. Even though I have pretty much always recorded these games through Elgato Game Capture. I don't know what it is about this game specifically that the game capture hates, but it bugs out a lot, and yeah, I apologize wholeheartedly about it. Anyway, as you saw there, we have manual, limits. We have just manual limits. We have all of these, hillbillies around here we can knock down: the fishermen, the boaters. We have fucking, just a whole bunch of gaps to get, at least 7 gaps in a run to get. I will get them out of the way, because I will be getting, all the gaps. And there are over 30 gaps in this level. There's a lot of fucking gaps in this one level. And, yeah, for the most part, it's going to be a pain in the ass, because this is one of those levels where they have really put in a whole bunch of fuck you gaps. Like, unapologetically put in a bunch of fuck you gaps. The absolute audacity of Shaba Games when it comes to this fucking level. Like, there's a reason why I am basically saying that Shaba Games, despite how legendary they are for the most part on potentially being a developer that could have been up there with Neversoft, ultimately are on my fucking shit list forever because of this game in particular. Like, this fucking game, with its gaps, is legitimately the worst they have been when it comes to the gap stuff. Like, it is legitimately the most bullshit they have fucking been out of any goddamn game they've made. And even some of the objectives sometimes are also in a bit of a bullshit league of their own. But fuck me. Absolutely fuck off, Shaba Games, with your fucking gaps. I went and tried to find some of these gaps, and I kept just bailing around and getting my ass whooped. Because genuinely, in order for me to actually pull this shit off and get these gaps, I'm gonna have to pull off some shit that requires near perfection. Like, there's at least 4 of them that are like that. And with one of them, I end up taking the fucking cheap way out. Because there are some gaps where you can just cheese it. And honestly, in a way, I recommend you just fucking cheese it. It's that bullshit. Anyway, I do go through and I take care of shit like the fishermen, which, sometimes they do line up pretty well with how they want to do objectives and all of that. And sometimes it's just kind of a mess. I'm going to jump cut through me just getting all these shots out of the way, because ultimately the video is mostly going to be about the gaps and about the challenges, and not so much about the free ride crap. Because the free ride crap is fine, ultimately. Getting 7 gaps, getting, 15,000, 20,000, 30,000 points in, each run in, the one go. All of these are fine. But it's the fucking gaps that piss me right the fuck off. Oh, by the way, I do get a gap here, just barely. Just grind across those 2 spots and you get unleaded, please. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this gap out of the way as well. Where you just have to grind around this entire spot here. And you will end up getting Shack Smack. You can also get Shack Smack by grinding around the back area as well. As long as you grind around that entire bit there, that's all that matters. There's also a gap that I'll be trying to get later on from here, but right now I try to get rid of the boat at the very least. So, let's get rid of the boats. Well, yeah, oh my fucking god, I genuinely do not like the Bayou. There are some levels in this game that I don't like, and the Bayou is the first one where I'm just like, this level fucking sucks. Also, that guy bugged out, you can still hear his engine. But yeah, for the most part, like, I do try my fucking best with these gaps, with these challenges, and eventually we'll see the gameplay improve a bit more and more, you know, as I'm going through getting all these other riders upwards. But right now, it will start a bit sloppy, just to warn you. There'll be a lot of that going on, a lot of fucking bales. But right now, I do get 2 gaps, PB Settle with the Reverend, and then I go ahead and grind that entire spot there for last resort with the fucking log. And then we have this entire area where you can get to by going around to that spot where the arrows were. And then you can go across and do all sorts of shit here. You can also get to the gator switch and all of that, and ultimately I did fuck myself for this one. But there is a fair bit to explore here. It's just, there are gaps here that you're either not gonna get, unless you know, get a bit of a hint for it, or are gonna be such fucking bullshit, you're not gonna have a good time. That's play map, by the way. And, yeah, I always get hop and you don't stop, but I'll show you how you're actually supposed to get that one, because that's just the game being weird. The game gets weird by a lot of the fucking gaps in this shit, so keep that in fucking mind. Got the gap shit out of the way, by the way. So, new challenge unlocked. And now, as the movie glitches up, I'm going to jump cut over to me getting rid of some more stuff. And by that, I mean just ending this shit right now. Saving the game just to get out of the way. Because now it's time to take care of the gaps. And I've only found 8 out of 39. Yeah, there's a lot. And at least 4 of these gaps are such shit, they're not fucking worth your time. Unless you fucking cheap them out. First off, that's how you can get Shack Smack, by going for the back area. And also, there is this pipe area. Grind through the pipe area, use your body to, know how your balance is, and get clean the pipes. There's a grate at the very end you can knock out as well, keep that in mind. And then grind this entire spot over here, and you'll get another gap as you get up to that log, which is called Wake the Dead. You can then get Last Resort right after. It's a nice little bit of a combo line there. Afterwards, let me just go ahead and grind this entire bit here, from one end to the very end, and you will end up getting Boomerang. After that, you want to go ahead and jump across this rooftop here to get reference watching. I'll show you how to properly do that. That was me doing it the weird way. Afterwards, I will go ahead and grind this entire rope line from the start to the end. You really do have to make sure you keep on in the grind. You can't go into a manual or anything. If you go in this direction, keep going straight. If you're going to the right area of that grind, jump to the left and you'll get to the middle area. And yeah, just continue on grind until you get the dope rope slide. After that, there are a few more gaps we're going to get, which includes just hitting the waypoint areas for these free logs. You have to grind them, but they want you to for log and pop. Just hit sort of like the spots they expect, and you'll be fine though. And here's another gap. Get over to the back area over here and grind the entire fence area from one end to the other. A lot of just basic shit going on, but ultimately you can kind of get a good idea on, like, these being gaps and stuff. Like, you just trespass. This kind of makes sense, you know? But there's gonna be some shit where it doesn't make fucking sense. So here's a grind here that is, I think, called Slacker. And you just grind the entire, wooden area here, all the way from one end to the other to get the gap. And I keep going, but there's no gap from going across this entire bit of, like, trail. So there is a gap from grinding this entire boat, in which you're going to get the Riverboat Queen. And then afterwards, I will then go ahead and grind this entire rooftop in order to get A's for A-frame. That shit is honestly really bugged out, by the way. Not just the footage, but also the gap. Sometimes it won't fucking register. Keep that in mind. Anyway, grind these entire spots in the back here, and you will end up getting the gap called Ryan's Wood Slider. Then jump over to your right over to that bit of concrete area there, and you'll get another gap, which I don't fucking do here. I'm an idiot. But I will get that shit out of the way soon. Right now, though, I always take care of grinding this entire wire all the way through. And I do recommend grinding all the way through to the very end of the wire in order to get this gap, as well as unlocking the challenge. I say it's because the footage fucking bugs out again. I apologize once more for the footage fucking up. Anyway, this is how you're supposed to do these two gaps here. Just jump across the boats. Then grind across these entire spots here. Start from the wood area and then keep grinding. Don't jump, but grind the entirety of these and you'll get hot tin roof. If you jump, this shit will not count. It just won't count at all, so keep that in mind. After that, jump across these two boats. It's a bit awkward and you'll get collect junk. And then you want to go ahead and here's the actual way for us to get this jump, by the way. There you go, that's the actual way of doing the gap. Anyway, here is me literally cheapening out this one. That's Natural Born Kicker 2. You're supposed to use the rooftops in order to jump across that entire gap. I just cheat the bitch. And I don't show you how to do it proper. And I get so fucking desperate that I decided every time I'm doing this shit, I'm going to do the Tricky Gap challenge as well to get it out of the way too. And for the most part, this one's awkward because even if you do it correctly like I do, it won't register sometimes. So instead how I did this was I did this bullshit. That counts. It shouldn't. It really fucking shouldn't. But it does. There's a few more gaps we can get around here, by the way. And for the most part, one of them is by grinding the rest of the area here of these two ramps to get the nice channel hop. And then to just jump across this over onto that building there to get another thing going on. I also get this gap out of the way. The backdoor board slide, just grind those concrete slopes there and you're good. And yeah, basically just jump across from this gray rooftop all the way across to the colored one. And you will get suckered up. And yeah, now we're taking care of me showing the set restart thing. As well as me getting rid of a gap here, which you have to grind these two rooftops here to get it. Now, I would recommend using the set restart function, which you only get once you've done all of the free ride challenges. Because it makes going back and getting the rest of these gaps such less of a fucking pain. Genuinely use the set restart when you can. Genuinely fucking use it. I cannot stress enough. Anyway, do that what I just did there for down to the wire. And you can cheap that one out. There's another gap there where you just sort of jump into a fucking wall. I'll show you how to properly do it. But yeah, there's a cheap way to do that one too. Now, I'm going to show you me getting this gap here, which is called Wedge Roof. And then I'm going to show you me just grind these signs here. Because of the camera that shows you this sort of gap, it makes you expect you have to grind those signs. No. No, you fucking don't. I will show you what you actually have to do. So here is what I thought you're supposed to do. It gives you nothing. The camera that I will show later on shows otherwise. But right now, yeah, it just does that. And I just get straight to get it bait because there's another gap that was fucking me off. And I decided to try and do it from here. If the board slide both of the boats, it gets the other end without hitting into the water. Because if we do, the gators are going to fuck us up. So, yeah, basically this is a just board slide both boats and exit without touching the water or the land, though it's mostly the water. And they do mean it when they say grind both boats. Because if you just go around and get from one end to the other without grinding both the boats, well, the game acts like you hit the water. See? But yeah, for the most part, here's what happens when you get close to that camera where that one gator is, because this could be a bit of a funny moment. Because you can't get over to him, and you can just get in front of the camera. And I avoid the gator. But yeah, for the most part, here is how you're supposed to do this goal here. Run across to these rails here in this line, and then jump across to this boat, and then jump across to your left side to get this one, to get the 2 boat gap. And there you go. That's Gator Bay completed. And now, I'm gonna take care of the rest of this shit, sign up this fucking rooftop. Here is what you're supposed to do in order to get fucking Hillbilly Havoc. When you see the camera bit there, the hint the game gives you, you're not gonna fucking think that. Anyway, you're supposed to do this shit to get the infinity board slide, sorry, which I thought you had to grind across from one end to the other. I'm sorry for not getting it right the first time. By the way, there is another fucking gap where the camera makes you think you have to grind backwards. And, by the way, I'm going to show you that you need to get a lot of fucking speed, jump a big distance, and grind the spot for watch your head. Now I'm going to show you this bullshit where you have to get up onto this rooftop however you want, and then grind from this rooftop all the way across to here. You can also cheat this by bashing your fucking head into it after doing a wall ride constantly until it fucking registers. Don't do that. You can do it that way instead. Here's another one. This one, I've seen people go backwards on to get this fucking gap, because they thought they had to go from the start backwards all the way across the fence and shit to get back to here. No. You just go across from the gas station, grind across from Ryan's wood slide, and then just keep grinding forward from here on this grind only, all the way forward until you get this gap. You do not have to go backwards. But the camera will fucking make you think otherwise. And lastly, make this giant fuck off gap in order to get Natural Born Kicker to trigger. You have to be so fucking precise to get that shit, by the way. It's not fun. It's not fair. It's honestly just fucking luck and dumb and bullshit, and I hate it. Anyway, now we're doing Schooling Banjos, in which I am so flunked out of my fucking mind that I can't even do this very well. And I should be able to. But because of the gaps just really fucking me off, I can't even really concentrate on just doing tricks. I even have to restart here because I'm just embarrassed by this attempt. So, I'm just going to get this out of the way, and I'm just going to say this right now. This shit ain't going to get better with the gaps. And again, as I've advised beforehand, the hints that this game is going to give you of the camera are going to be BMX XXX levels of fucked. They are going to mislead you. They're supposed to help you in hinting you on where the fuck gaps are, and like, giving you a bit of a hint on how you're supposed to do it. But no, not this fucking game. There are genuinely gaps here where they just don't give a fuck. And I hate it. And you know what? This banjo player, once you complete this, has the exact fucking feeling that I feel when it comes to me dealing with these goddamn gaps. And just the absolute abhorrent fucking pain I feel at Shaba Games for what they fucking did here. That's how I fucking feel. I fucking felt that. I absolutely fucking felt that when I went through this game. I felt like I was that banjo player right there, smashing a fucking banjo guitar into the ground, so goddamn pissed off and fed off. Like, genuinely. I understand it's in reference, like, Reference Day or whatever the fuck, but genuinely, I fucking hate this level. And there are gonna be levels later on that I also fucking hate, much like this goddamn Bayou. Like, you have no idea how much of a pain in the ass this game is until you're going ahead and trying to get these gaps done. And by the way, just to make matters even worse, you know how I got on Dave Mirror 2's case about having to do all the gaps over and over and over again with separate writers? Well, Shaba Games seems to have taken a note from that fucking game, because with this game, you also have to do all the gaps with every writer again and again and again. It fucked me off. The good news is that unlike Dave Mirror 2, I don't overall hate the game. There are bits here I do like, so it's less painful, but it sucked. It genuinely sucked to play through, and it was getting to points where it was getting to that water torture level. It was getting to certain points where I just really wanted to quit playing the fucking game. So, anyway, now that I ranted and got that out of the way, I will say right now, with this one, with this whole entire boat race, if you fuck up a little bit, you do not have enough time to make up for your fuck up. Because of the big gap here from that checkpoint I went through all the way to this next one, you're gonna see just how little time you actually have when you make small fuck-ups like this. I was a millisecond away from the fucking level failing. It's that tight. Now, there are gonna be boat races later on where they're not that fucking tough, not that tight. But that one was tough. And as you saw beforehand, you know, the boat looked a bit different, and also our crown looks different for getting all the gaps. And I'm also being stupid. But yeah, for the most part, now I'm taking care of the stars, which this one, it can be annoying, though if you do make a fair mistake where you end up like teleporting a fair bit back or what have you, at the very least, the game is kind enough to, you know, give you quite a lot of extra time to work with in order to fix up things and try to get the rest. Because for the most part, these aren't that far away, so you do have enough time to get this shit. It's just, for the most part, if you were to make a mistake and say you end up far back like this, there's enough time here for you to rectify it. Though for me, there is only enough time for me to get back over to where I should be, and then I have to get the rest in one combo. But at the very least, this entire star challenge, not that bad. It's honestly one of the easier ones to take care of. But yeah, really the challenge here is just, it's just the gaps. Like the pig one and the natural born kicker ones and all of that, those are genuinely the most dog shit fucking gaps in this level. You will not have a good time getting those gaps. Like, even doing them in the actual genuine way you're supposed to do them is not fun. And you saw that I cheapened out with one of them, where I kind of just abused the waypoint thing. But you can do them legitimately. I have actually done all three of them legitimately. But it's not fucking fun. It's almost luck-based sometimes, because sometimes it won't fucking register. And it's genuinely bullshit, because there is no leeway into the timing, into when you jump, into how far you jump, into how fast you should be, in everything. You have to get it from point A to point B exact, or else it won't fucking work for you. And again, there are people who have done the gaps where they just, you know, they cheese it. They'll slam into the fucking walls, they'll jump next to the goddamn gaps like I did that one time, and yeah, they'll just cheapen the fuck out of this shit. And I'm telling you this right now, just cheapen it. Don't don't try to do this legitimately unless you hate yourself. And I do hate myself, so I fucking did them. But if you don't hate yourself and aren't miserable, don't do these gaps legitimately, because you will end up very fucking miserable. And there are some gaps later on that are gonna be similar to that. But right now, I have done that, where you just don't do a trick at the end, don't do a manual, and you'll get that fine. And that's it. That is all the challenges, that's all the gaps. And now I'm going to show the fucking cameras, which, for most of them, they do show you, you know, a good look into what you're supposed to do here. You know, like jumping over this gap here, of this kicker. And grinding across this spot here. You see, they do genuinely show this shit for real, legitimately, without being dickheads. But there are fucking moments where they fucking don't. And this level is the start of when they really just kind of say fuck you to actually showing you this shit proper. So, after we show off collecting junk, I believe... No, not yet. This is legitimate. Like, we're still getting the legitimate ones. And Dope Rope Slide, you know, they show you the whole line, so... Again, most of these, they do genuinely show you what you're supposed to do. They do give you a hint. Even down to the wire, to an extent, does show you what you're supposed to do. Then you got Hillbilly Havoc, which... Look at that, and tell me, would you grind the signs, or would you grind the very top when you see that camera, when you only have that as your fucking hint? You can see, like, this camera here also sucks, because that's the kicker thing. Why didn't they show the exact same kind of camera, instead of doing what you just fucking did there? And Infinity Board Slide, like, when you see that, would you think, grind the boats, or would you think grind the fucking logs across? Because it's just a bunch of mess. And it's not showing you either to grind back and forth, by the way. Got log and pop here, fair. And then you got look for the Reverend, which is just grind this entire spot here. There's like 2 gaps that link to that one. Then Natural Born Kicker, which sure, you kind of get the hint here, but the gap itself is bullshit. Then Natural Born Kicker 2, where you grind from that roof all the way to the other roof. Or you can fucking, you know, cheap it out like I did. And then, you have, not Pee-wee setup, though you can see, is there a difference here? Like, is there a difference? And not plain wrap-up, though plain wrap-up is a little bit awkward to get going. And not quarter pipe channel, because even though it's fucked, you kind of get it. And not Reverend's watching, because again, you get it. And it shows you, and it's being kind about it. No, it's the fact that you see Ryan's wood slider, and it's showing the correct direction. And you know, you obviously know that from that, it's showing the correct direction, you're good from there. Shaft blasting shows you it backwards. And so many people think you have to fucking do it backwards. No, you fucking don't. Shaba Games are being cocks about this. And this fucking gap here is a cunt too. I fucking hate Swill Like a Pig Boy. And I fucking hate a lot of the gaps here. Like, genuinely, this level sucks when it comes to its gaps. And I did not have a good time. And I will go on a fucking rant when it comes to certain gaps that I really fucking hate, and some of I really fucking hate, later on. Because there's gonna be some shit. There is gonna be some fucking shit. But right now, the Bayou is one of the worst levels of this game, and it's because of the gaps alone. If you got rid of the gaps entirely, this wouldn't be nearly as painful. But with these certain fucking gaps I brought up to you, and how you're supposed to do them, I fucking hate them. I fucking hate him, and I hate this fucking level, and I don't want to think about it ever again. And I had to go through and do this 9 more fucking times, by the way. And yes, 9 more times. You will find out why. But right now, I get my stat points up, and that's gonna do it for this part. 30 minutes, 1 level. Next time, we're doing 2 levels, because one of them, later on, is a little bit special. But next time we're going to Springfield, and then we're doing Florida afterwards. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time for something less fucking painful than the Bayou.